Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Neva, this is Reading with Neva, and today we are going to be filming my digital reading journal flip through video. So I want y'all to be able to see my face at the very beginning, but I am going to face you downwards so that you can see my iPad. So if you've been here for any length of time, you will know that I do all of my planning and like reading journal stuff via my iPad. I am a digital planner slash journaler, and so today we're going to go ahead and we're going to walk through my journal that I will probably be using for the foreseeable future. This was created for me. I purchased it in March, February, something like that, of 2025, and I just received it, so we're going to just flip through it. I have set up a few of the pages so that it's a little bit easier for me to explain how I'm going to be using them, and I have already flipped through this on my own. I also want to apologize in advance for any background noise that you hear, but I do have everyone in my house is home right now, so if you hear my brother yelling or Ari in the background, it just is what it is. This was the time that I could film. So I'm going to go ahead and face y'all downwards so that you can see my iPad, and we will get started. Okay, so this is my reading journal. Obviously, that's what it says, reading journal. So I do have a portrait style reading journal, and this is set up very similarly to like a traditional bullet journal style reading journal. So you see a lot of paper journalers or paper planners that will use like a blank dot grid journal and then draw their own stuff. So this is hyperlinked. I can use links to get like navigate throughout the planner, and then also there are some blank pages. This was a customized planner from my friend Kristen over at Catch Creations, and I will link her Etsy shop down below if you want to get your own planner. These are going to run a little bit more expensive than if you get one that is already pre-done. So what I did was I took a planner that I had her make for me a few years ago that I paid around, I think, 50 USD for, and I took that planner, which was a landscape planner, so it went the long way instead of portrait, and I took a planner that I bought off Etsy for around $10, and that was a portrait style bullet journal kind of planner, and I took bits and pieces from both and we combined them to make a dream planner. So this is a customized planner. I believe I paid around $75 USD, but it's 100% customized, exactly how I wanted it laid out. So I was willing to pay a bit more for it. This is also undated, so that is going to be significant because this means that I can use this for years to come, and I do not plan on buying another one anytime soon, but she has other things in her shop as well. She has like Bible journals. You can basically customize any of her planners that you want. So if you want a life planner, a reading journal, a Bible journal, anything like that, you can get those 100% customized, and her pricing varies between whether it is a fully done, like ready to use out of the box planner, or it is one like this that is customized. So I just wanted to be very transparent about that I did pay for this planner, even though it is made for me by a friend, and she actually became my friend after she made me my first planner, and this is going to be more expensive, but there are other Etsy shops. I will also link down below the portrait planner that I used for inspiration for this one, so you can look at that. I think when I checked the pricing on it, it's about $5 now, so it's actually gone down in price from when I bought it, and it's a perfectly fine planner. I just needed more, like basically I needed some things that were in that planner and some things that were not, so we made a custom one. So this is the portrait style, this is my portrait style planner, and this is the cover. So if I hold down, I think it's here, yeah, so if I hold down on the cover, it will open up for me. This is all just helpful information. Kristen writes you a little note here. These are all hyperlinks. So I should have said this, I am using Noteful for my planning needs now. So I used to use Goodnotes, and now I'm using Noteful. So the hyperlinking is a little bit different. So I'm not going to click these here, but just know that these are all hyperlinks. So if I click any of these, well, I guess I could show you. If I click any of these, they will take me to the web page. So if I click on this Etsy shop, it takes me to Kristen's Etsy shop here. So goodbye. This is Kristen's Etsy shop. So any of those links will work. This is for her Facebook group, her Etsy shop, her Instagram page, and then this is so that you can send an email. Obviously we have this. I don't think this is hyperlinked. No, it's not. So this is just her logo here. And then I have a books and coffee theme. So it's a very neutral, like browns and blacks planner. So down here we have the color codes. These are all of the colors that are throughout the planner. I will be plugging these in to use them throughout my planner. I do tend to use color codes. And then these are all of the fonts that she used. I don't tend to font match. I like to use my own fonts, but I do tend to color match. So I will be adding those in later. And I believe you can hold this down and like copy it. Yeah. So on this, I can hold this down and hit copy, and then I can plug it in to where it needs to be in the planner. Okay, so let's start just flipping through. I'm gonna just flip through, but just know that all of these buttons on the side here are hyperlinked. So all of these buttons on the side here are hyperlinked. All of these buttons at the top are hyperlinked. So up at the top, we have January through to December. These are gonna take us to our monthly planner pages. So any calendars, spreads, all of that, and I will show you the different ones. And then over here, these are hyperlinked as well. So this is the info page. Actually, I will use the hyperlinks, that's fine. So this is the info page, and then if we click, if we click this, you hold it down, and this is our journal index. So everything on this page is hyperlinked. If I click any of these, like you can see, I'm just showing you without holding it down. So it's gonna say paste on here. Let me actually go in here and mess with my toolbar really quick. Let me remember how to do this. My toolbar, apparently someone's decided to, oh, that's my brother, I think. Here we go, customize toolbar. I'm gonna turn on this little hand tool because I think if I have this on, it won't, yeah, okay. So this is like the editing mode, like it'll make it so that I can just flip through things. Okay, so I'm going to use this little hand tool over here and keep that on. So all of these are hyperlinked, so anything that will turn blue when I click on it, that's a link. So I have all of these different tabs here, so reading goals, arcs, series, authors, all my trackers, challenges, the yearly stuff, and then these notes down here are just blank pages that I can add throughout the planner. And then down here, these spots are the my sections. So I asked for 10 blank sections. So if I click on any of these, they will be blank. So we'll click on one that's already blank. These have things behind them. But if I click like on this one, it's just a blank page. It is going to take it a second. It's a very link heavy document. So every blank section, which I have them throughout the planner. So I have blank sections in my index. I have 10, and then each month also has 10 blank sections, and I'll explain how I'm using those. But each blank section gets a divider with a label. This was something that I added this year because I needed some way to label what they were. And then behind this, each of these dividers, there is one blank dot grid page that I can use for whatever I want. So let's actually go through what my sections are set up like since we are already on that index page. So my sections, I have my 25 in 2025 bingo. So I did use a font duo here. I just took a font. This is actually going to bother me that it's not oh, that's weird. It's not letting me. Maybe it's in text. I don't know. It's not letting me move it. That's weird. Oh, here we go. Okay, so we're gonna move that to a different layer though. Let's move that to text. Okay, so this is my 25 and 2025 bingo. I used 2 different fonts to make this label. You'll see that throughout the planner. And behind this, we have the cute bingo board that Brianna made for this. So this was made by my friend Brianna over at For Paws in a Book. I believe her video for this is still up on her channel. I will try to remember to link it below. I'm terrible at linking things. But this is just, these are the books that I picked at the beginning of the year. And the ones that I have read so far have a star over the top. So cute, right? Okay, so we have that. And then the next blank section is my 2025 self-destruct. I made my own, not a bingo board, but I made my own graphic for this. There's no prompts underneath this. These are just ones that I plugged in. So the ones that are just a blank star, I've already read. And then I have 2 on here, or actually I think I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have 4 on here that I have just unhauled. So either I unhauled it because, like, this one was unhauled because the author is problematic. I no longer want to read that. Or I unhauled it, like this one, I unhauled because I just don't want to read it and it's not going to get read by the end of the year. So I just went ahead and unhauled it. Then my other blank section in my index is my 12 recs from 12 friends. This is a graphic that I made for myself at the beginning of the year. And I had a bunch of friends that gave me this. Clearly, I'm not doing well with this at all. I've read a total of 1 out of 12. But that is what this page is. So let's go back to our index and we will just start flipping through pages. So this is our journal index. I'll turn my hand back on so that it doesn't mess with things. So the first section here is my goals. So we have goals, reflection, reading goals, and most anticipated. So this is just the goals section of the planner. So I did set this page up already with last year's reflection. I just took the information from my other journal. So if you watched my journal flip through at the beginning of the year, I showed that I was using 2 journals. I did do this for part of the year. So a lot of this information that's already in this planner, or that I've already transferred it over from my old planner. So here we just have my favorite book of last year, which was Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home. I absolutely loved this book. Here we have all of last year's goals, so my books read, pages read, and my NetGalley percentage. And then down here we had the year-end numbers. So I haven't actually plugged that in. I read like 128 books. I think I read over 36,500 pages. And then my NetGalley score, I don't even know what it was. I think it was like 12% or something. It was terrible at the end of the year. But I need to go onto my spreadsheet from last year and just grab the stats for down here, and I haven't done that yet. Then you have a new author you tried and loved, a new genre I tried and loved, and my least favorite book, and then any books I still need to finish from last year. I do not pull books from the year before. I start each year on a fresh slate, so anything that either was being read or was anything that was not completed or that was still on my TBR for the year before, I just put it all back on my want to read. So I didn't have any books that I pulled over. And then these were my honorable mentions. So this was my favorite book of the year. I narrowed it down. But these were any books that I really enjoyed throughout the year. So there are 9 slots here. I put in 6 because I think my old journal only had 6 slots. And she could get 9 in this slot. So I kind of wish she could have done 12 because then I could have put 1 book for each month. But that's totally fine. I just went ahead and did the 6 since that's what I had in my old journal. The next page is reading goals for 2025 or for the current year, right? So this is how I set this up. So my reading goal this year is 52 books. I explained in my goals video at the beginning of the year why I chose to do only 52 books instead of doing my typical 100. So I will try to remember to link that down below for you to go watch that. My NetGalley percentage that I would like to achieve is 80%. So at 80%, that is what NetGalley suggests that you sit at, is an 80% review rate. So I'm working on that right now. I'm really good at reading the books, but then I am really bad at reviewing them. So I need to just remember that when I finish a NetGalley arc, I need to just go in straight away and type it up. Luckily, my iPad goes everywhere with me, so I can easily review from my iPad if I need to. And I am kind of transitioning to my iPad being my computer replacement. So I'm hoping that this year I can kind of stick to that. A genre I would like to read more of is historical fiction. I have a few Kristen Hanna books that are actually on my TBR for this year that I would really love to get to. And then these were the authors I wanted to read more of that I read last year. So I never got to a Kristen Hanna book last year. I wanted to read The Women, but I just ended up not getting to it, which is fine, but I do want to read that one this year. And then I have a few other ones like The Nightingale and a couple other ones that are on my TBR. And then Megan Quinn, I did read her last year. I read her Christmas novel, which was the How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, and I absolutely loved it. And Megan Quinn's backlist seems to be readily available on KU, so I'm hoping to get to a lot of those this year. And then I have other bookish goals, but I haven't put them down in here. My other bookish goals have to do with YouTube and social media. Then over here, Kristen did give me a physical books on my TBR space. I asked for this to kind of look like either a bookshelf or a TBR cart. It kind of reminds me of both. So that's what this is. These are all of the books that are currently on my TBR cart that I want to get to. Some of these are books that I will have to read, like that are slated as buddy reads, and some of these are books that I'm reading on my own or for projects, but I colored in the ones that I have read. So I've only read 2 of them that are specifically on here. These are what is left from the beginning of the year, because what I did was I just updated it based off of what is currently on my TBR cart. So I have read more than that off of my actual physical TBR this year, but these are the 2 that I read the most recently, because I just took off the ones that I'd already read. That's basically how I did that. So that's what these are. So I have 7 Year Slip, Her Soul to Take. I read both of those in the last month, and then the rest of these are ones that are still just chilling on the TBR cart, and they're the ones that I would like to get to by the end of the year. Okay, also, if you hear any background noise, Ari is making her chicken nuggets, so we're just gonna have to work with it. So the next page that I have is my anticipated releases. So I don't keep up with a lot of anticipated releases. These are mostly ones that were written by favorite authors, so I don't have releases for each and every month. These were just ones that I knew were coming out, and I do need to go through and like mark which ones I actually own, because I do own both of the ones for January. I own March. I own 2 of the ones from April, and I have the one from May. So that's what this is. There is 2 pages of this so that you have one for each month, and I can just list them out. That was the easiest way for me to do that. The next section that we have is arcs. So this is for all of my arcs. I really tapered this down from my last journal, because my last journal had like arcs that I wasn't approved from, approved for. I don't keep track of that because it kind of just makes me sad. So these are specifically any arcs that I have in my collection. These are not even arcs that are pending. These are actually arcs that I only keep track of the arcs that I currently need to read. So I don't think I have all of my arcs in here, but I may. I don't know. I'm gonna have to double check, but I did transfer all this information over from my old thing, so, or from my old journal. So let's go over those. Okay, so these I get spaces for each month, obviously, and then down here I put the date that it's going to be published. I think in another journal that I had at one point, I had a spot for the day that I received it. I don't keep track of that because I don't always pay attention to when I'm receiving it, but I do keep track of the publication date. That way I can make sure, or try to make sure, that I'm reading them when they come out. So I do know that I've read Out of the Woods. I've not been great with my arcs this year, and I have some from last year that I actually need to, that I'm working on reviewing. So I'm just working on reviewing a bunch of them, but you have a space for each month. That's what we have here. And then I put the publication date at the bottom. And that's how I keep track of my arcs. I don't really have a lot of arcs for the second half of the year yet, but that is totally fine. Then this page is my backlist arcs. So these would be any arcs that came out before that had come out previous to 2025. I don't have a bunch of backlist arcs right now because most of the backlist arcs I have actually read and I just need to review them. But that's what this page is for, is if we go into 2026 and I still have 2025 arcs, they will go into this space. Then we have my review tracker. Obviously, I've reviewed more than just this, but these were the two that I had on my list at the time. And then I have spaces here that I can check off for NetGalley, Instagram, Goodreads, and Storygraph. Some publishers require you to review on Goodreads. I don't tend to review on Goodreads unless it's a requirement, but I will review usually on at least NetGalley and Instagram. But right now I'm just working on my backlist stuff, so I haven't been really reviewing on Instagram either because these books are so far back. All right, the next page I have is a NetGalley tracker. So this is your starting with your unread. I have not filled this out because I'm currently reviewing, so I don't want to fill this out until I've gotten things done. And then your ratio, and then you can mark for each month. I actually really like this tracker. I can't wait to use this one next year for sure at the beginning of the year. But you can mark how many you read for the month, how many you were approved for in the month, how many you have currently unread, and then your feedback ratio at the end of each month. So I really do like this page, and I'm glad that she included it. Oops. The next section we have is my series section, and I love this. So she gave me a new series tracker, and I played with it prior to this video so that I could show you exactly how I'm using it, because at first I wasn't quite sure how to use it, and then I figured it out. So we have a new series tracker that I've never had before. So here you put the series name, and then over here you put the number of books. I am using, these stickers are from Planning to Prosper, which is where I get a lot of my stickers. You will see Planning to Prosper stickers throughout this planner because I use them in my regular, like, everyday, like, weekly planner as well, because that's where I get my weekly, like, my life planner is setup is from Plan to Prosper. So if you want to see a video with my life planner setup, I can easily do that for y'all. But that's what these square stickers are. Like, these are actual stickers. It's not highlighter because coloring in the squares was driving me nuts. So this makes it just look more uniform. So what I did was I put in, I think there are 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so there's 21 series. These are my currently working on series is how I differentiated this. This is not every series that I'm currently in the middle of. I have around 85 that I'm currently in the middle of. I could take this and copy and paste it like if I needed more room, but I was like, let's look at all the series that I have read at least one book in the year of 2025, and these are the ones that I've read a book in. So or at least one book in. So these are the ones that I'm currently in the middle of, like truly in the middle of. And then as I finish these, they actually get taken off this list. So that's kind of how I'm using this particular page. So anywhere where there is a blue square, those are the books that in the series that I have read. So some of these are like standalones. So like the Never After series, I've read all except book 4 because these are true standalones. They're not even really interconnected. She gives you some Easter eggs at the throughout each of the books, so you can try to figure out what the next book's fairy tale is. But most of these are like that. And then the Twisted Tale are also retellings, but they are not connected to each other. They're all different. So that is what these blue spots are. So anywhere there's a blue square, that means that I have read the book. And with the Jacksonville Rays, because I know that someone will ask me, Jacksonville Rays specifically, I have put in that we're about to get book 7 because there are little novellas in between, and I wanted to track those as well. But technically there are only we only are up to book 4 in the full-length novels. So we've gotten 3 books so far, and we're about to get a 4th. But that's why the Jacksonville Rays looks funny that way. Oh, I have seen that I've made a mistake. Let me actually fix that because it will bother me if I do not. And we're gonna move this. Oh, actually that's not my highlighter section. We're gonna move this because I've not read book 4 yet. I don't know why I marked that because I've not read it. Okay, so that is what this is here. Yeah, so that's what this is. I absolutely love this tracker. And like I said, this isn't hyperlinked to anything, so I could, like the tracker itself is not hyperlinked to anything. So if I wanted to put all 80 series in here that I'm in the middle of, I could. And I could just copy and paste this page behind. I could just come over here and hit my plus sign and hit add page and then hit current, and then it would put one behind it or in front of it if I wanted, but it would put one behind it to continue filling that out. Then here we actually have the series tracker. So this is where I'm putting in series as I finish them. I've used this 2 different ways. So I've used it the way I'm using it now, where I only plug them in as I finish the series throughout the year. And I've also used it kind of similar to this, where I would plug in every series that I'm currently in the middle of and then track them that way. But because I have this tracker page, I am choosing to use this for completed series only of the year. So I'm not going back and like putting every series I've ever read. This is just simply for the 2025 series. So I did finish the Dreamland Billionaires series last month. So let's actually click this. This is hyperlinked. And it takes you to your series overview page. So here I have the name of the series, the author, the genre, and how many books were in the series. This was my overall rating, so I did give it 5 stars. I like these little hearts, so I chose to use those instead. These were individual stickers. Before someone asks, I made this little review thing because I use shapes, individual shapes, since I do a 6-star rating system. So Kristen, so I have the stickers from my old journal, which was also a very neutral colored journal, and I'm using them in this as well. So some of these stickers that you see that seem to match were not made for this specific journal, but they work out. And then down here, I put the books that I've read in the series, or I'm sorry, all of the books in the series would go down here, and then with the dates that I finished them. So I just haven't plugged in the dates yet. I need to go back on my story graph and look, because these 2 I read in 2023 when they came out, and this one I just finished like last week. So that's what that is. And then over here we have series notes. So I wrote my own little review of what I thought about the series as a whole. And then down here I left room for a little mood board. This is a big reason, friends, that I decided to do a bullet journal style, because I love going on Pinterest and just making little mood boards for books or series. And then what this page looks like blank is like this. So it's blank, and then there is this little coffee cup. So I could have made it so that the mood board fit around the coffee cup, but I just think that this is such a cute thing. And then if you click up here, this is a link and it takes you back to the first series overview page. So that's what that is. I get 2 sheets of series trackers. I believe there's 22, 4, let's see, there's 5. There's 25 series for each one, so I have enough room on my series tracker for 50 hyperlinked series. I don't think I will finish 50 in the year, to be honest, but let's click this, because then that will take us to our next section once it loads. There we go. And then we have our authors section. So you could also get to these with these hyperlinks over here, but I'm just trying to do a quick flip through for you. So this is one of my favorite sections. This is the author library. So in here we have A through Z. All of these letters are hyperlinked. So I'm going to take you to H, because I know that one I have a page set up for that. So we're going to go to H, and I have Emily Henry. So I organize my authors by last name. You could organize them by first name if you wanted, but I organize them by last name. So this is my Emily Henry page, And I have all of her books that she's ever written in here, okay, all of them. Now some of these I've read, I need to plug in the dates. So here you would put the author, an author photo. I just found this one on Google. And then over here, I have all of her backlist books. So I have read all of these except Great Big Beautiful Life and these 2 YA books that she wrote like years ago. But I have read all the rest of these. So I do need to plug in the dates. But basically, as she comes out with new books, I will plug them in. I only use this section for favorite authors. So these are like auto-buy authors for me where I have read at least 2 of their books and liked them and want to continue reading them. So that is what this section specifically is for. Okay, so like I said, we get that, and then down here at the bottom, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it because this is as close as my camera will get, but down here at the bottom, there is a little coffee cup that moves. So like if I click Z, it's going to move the little coffee mug so that you can see exactly where you are in the alphabet, and then you can copy and paste a second page or a third page or however many pages you need behind each number or behind each letter, and it will continue to show down here that that's the page that you're on. Our next section is my trackers section. So in my trackers, I have certain things, favorite authors, narrators, all of that. And I'm going to show you how I use these pages as well, because obviously I have my author library. So this is specifically for any auto-buy authors I have. It's an infinite section. I could also do that here as well, but the way that I use my trackers specifically is when I've found new authors or narrators in that year that I like, as opposed to my author library, which is for my all-time. So the author library is going to consistently move from one journal to the next for when people are asking me for recommendations. So this is my favorite author section. I get 4 authors per page on this page. This is another one. A lot of these pages can be copy and pasted as long as they don't have hyperlinks attached to them. So here we get a little like bio section for the author. So author, gender, if you know that, do not out your favorite authors. That's terrible. The nationality of your author, any genres that they write, and the number of books in their backlist that they've written. Why you love the author, and then you can put your favorite book cover here. So yeah, this, I also sometimes will use this as a place for easy recommendations. So like if I know that Emily Henry, for instance, is an author that I love, or we'll use actually Emily Rath as an example. So I love Emily Rath's books. I have read I have some backlist books that I need to read from her, but say that I was like, okay, I'm going to put Emily Rath in here in like my favorite authors section, and my favorite book by her is kind of a tie currently between Pucking Around and Pucking Sweet, but I would put one of those covers here and then Why I Love the Author. But I am specifically this year going to be using this for new authors that I discover that I love in 2025. Similarly, we have favorite narrators. These are for audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so I like to keep track of my favorite narrators. So if a narrator really resonates with me, I will put them in here. Again, I'm going to be using this specifically for 2025. So we have a narrator, the gender, and the nationality, and then any books that they've narrated, and you can hold up to 6 books that they've narrated. Usually what I do is I plug in like the first book that I ever listened to by them, and then any other books, because on like Audible or Libro FM, I use Libro FM, but on most on most audiobook apps, you can click the narrator's name and it will take you to other books that that narrator has narrated. And that's usually what I do. And then if there's any on my like TBR that I would like to listen to by them, I will plug it in to this as well. So I've not filled this out this year yet. I need to actually go through and see if there are any like standout narrators that I've listened to, because I don't know if there are. Here we have favorite books. Again, I'm going to use this specifically for the year of 2025. So I do have some favorite books that have happened. I'm going to be using this specifically for 6-star reads throughout the year, and I can copy and paste and add more pages if I need it. But that way I do have these are like at a glance, like 6-star reads at a glance. That's kind of what this page is going to be. Then here we have any favorite audiobooks, so any just standout audiobooks that I'm like, you have to listen to this book as an audio, will go in here. Then here we have a favorite quotes page. I do quotes throughout the year. I'm actually contemplating asking Kristen to make me a pack of inserts specifically for this planner, and this would be one of the ones that I would have her make for me because again, I'm using Noteful. I've transferred over from Goodnotes, and one of the awesome things about this is that this app has layers, so I could use inserts where they're actually locked down. So I've thought about asking her to make me some inserts. I just need to sit down and like write out which inserts I would actually want, because those can also go in my blank sections. And then I could save this page. I could do a favorite quotes for each month with the different books that I have. But this I had her make for me to plug in any like all-time favorite like standout quotes from 2025. These are my pre-ordered books, self-explanatory, title, date ordered, and the pub date. And then this is a little checkbox circle so that you can check off if you've received the book. Then here we have book recommendations. So I did plug in Binding 13, which was suggested to me recommended to me by my friend Aoife. I've actually owned this book since like 2023. I have the indie pub version, but Aoife recently suggested this book for a video that I'm working on. And yeah, so I can put who recommended it, what the rating was that I gave it, and then check it off when I've read it. But you could also, I'm actually thinking about if people have already read the books, I'm thinking about putting in the rating, using this rating spot as the rating that the person who recommended it to me gave it, and then checking off when I've finished the book. The next section we have is challenges. I absolutely love this divider, by the way, with the coffee splatter. So these are all the different challenges that I tend to try to participate in every year. Kat's Book Nerds Challenge is specifically the one that Kristen runs in her Facebook group. I need to actually go look and see what the Book Nerds Challenge is for the month, but we usually get 60 prompts, and you plug in the prompt, and then you plug in the book that will fit the prompt. I tend to do this where I will actually put the prompt in and then plug in books as I read them, as opposed to having a set TBR. I'm a mood reader. Set TBRs only work in certain instances for me, and challenges are not usually an instance where they work. Here, this is for your plans, so you get 60 spaces to kind of plug in any books that you think would fit the prompt, just so that you can kind of game plan. It's like a brain dump page is how I use it. Then here we have Goodreads Best of the Year. I did ask her to put this in for me for this year so that I can plug in the books for 2025 specifically, because I would like to make a Goodreads video this year. Last year it did not work. Aoife and I tried to do it, and then we were going to do romance only, but I think that this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what the finalists are, plug them in, and then my Goodreads, and then it'll say 2025 down here, but my Goodreads books will be ones that I am actually interested in reading. So I'll pick the genres that I'm actually interested in reading, the winners of those if I have not read them, and I will read them. So we have each section, and I told her to make sure that we have the new sections for this, because we have audiobook and romantasy were both ones that were added, I think both last year or in 2023, but they're newer sections. So I told her, hey, make sure that we have all of the updated Goodreads sections for that. So we have fiction, romantasy, debut, nonfiction, historical, fantasy, audiobook, memoir. thriller, sci-fi, YA fantasy, history, romance, horror, and YA fiction. So can't wait to be able to fill out that spread. Then here we have the alphabet challenge. So this one is really self-explanatory. I am doing an alphabet challenge this year. I need to fill this out, but I'm doing it specifically with dark romance. So I'm going to actually put dark and then romance over here in these sections to label it. But the alphabet challenge is exactly what it sounds like. You try to find a book from A to Z that fits whatever the challenge is. So I gave myself one for this year for dark romance. So like for B, Break the Girl would work for that. I'm trying to think what other ones I have. Her Soul to Take would work for H. So that's how I do that. With these ones that are harder, what I do is I just try to find a book. So like with like W, X, Y, and Z, those can be a little bit harder, especially X, Y, and Z. I tend to just try to find books that have that letter in the title. That's how I kind of get around that. And then this is your alphabet challenge plans, so you can kind of scribble, again, a brain dump page, so I can kind of write in any books that could fit and then decide which one I want to read. This is my self-destruct challenge. This, now I know that I forgot that I had her make me a challenge page for this. So this I am going to use. She gave me 20 spots for my self-destruct. I'm not going to use it this year, but I think that next year I may do prompt-based self-destruct, but I don't know yet. But I will be using this next year to plug in my self-destruct books, even if I don't use the prompts. I may just cover this with like washi tape or something, and then keep track of like, if I've read it or unhauled it, I may do it that way instead of the prompt-based self-destruct challenge. But I'm going to look into and see if anyone has ever done a prompt-based self-destruct challenge, because I think that that could be fun, especially if I just pull off all the books that I want on my self-destruct and then try to plug them into prompts. Again, with the self-destruct brain dump page, we love a brain dump page. Then I have my KU clean out challenge. I am going to use this. I don't do my KU clean out challenge prompt based, but she did put prompts if I wanted to do that. Maybe next year we can do it that way, but I don't do, KU clean out is not prompt based. It's based off of, well, maybe I'll do that 1 month where I do it prompt based, because I could use my Wheels of TBR prompts to find books. But usually what I do is I spin a wheel, it gives a number wheel, it gives me the number of books I'm going to do. But what I'm going to do with this page specifically is I'm going to plug in all of the books that I have. This is another one that I'm going to keep it in this challenge spot, because what I'll do is next year at the beginning of the year, I will plug in the 20 books that I have in my KU. But I think this will be another one where I have her make me a template, or an insert is what I'm looking for, an insert to put into each month, and then they can kind of move from month to month. I'm having so many ideas as I'm flipping through this. And again, with a KU clean out brain dump page. Now we get into the monthlies. So I'm only going to show you December. So I'm going to skip all the way to December. And the reason I'm doing this is because then that will take us into our next sections, like our linked sections over here. So I'm going to take you through December. All of my months look exactly the same, so there's no reason for me to show you 1,000 of the same like every month. So each month has a different divider. So that's really the only difference between the months, is that each month has a different like home divider page. So I have 10, I think it's 10, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I have 10 blank sections. These are set up just like the ones over on my index page. I just had her do them on the side like this so that it took up a little bit more room. Originally, she sent me 2 different mock-ups. So there was this mock-up, and then there was a mock-up where the month with the links was up here and all of the dividers were down here. I didn't really like it that much, so I preferred this layout. So all of these, I use these blank sections for everything and anything. Again, with getting inserts made, or I may just ask her for the dimensions of the planner and make my own inserts. I've not quite decided how I want to do that. I guess I could just screenshot it and bring it into like Canva. But I may make my own inserts for this just so that I have some inserts like quotes and things like that. But what I'm doing with this specifically is I guess I could show you June, because June is already set up. So I don't know why I went to December. That's blank. June is already set up. So here is June. So these 3 sections, I have Amazing Readathon, my Wheels of TBR game, and my YouTube projects. I'm not going to show you my YouTube projects, but I will show you the other 2 because that video is about to come out anyway, and you'll probably see the TBR video before you see this one. So each month is set up completely the same. Like I said, each divider is different, but the monthly layout is the same. So I have my month plan here. This is just a blank calendar. I put in these date dots. Again, these date dots are specifically from Planning to Prosper, from that kit. I pick a kit that I am going to use for my month in, I pick that kit for my monthly, like for my life planner, and then I just transfer that data over here. So basically any kits that I'm using throughout the week or the month in that month in my life planner will also come over into this planner. I did that on purpose. So up here I have my subscriber count for YouTube, and then that at the start of the month. So this tells me like where I'm starting for the month, and then this tells me where I'm starting for Instagram as well. Those are really the only 2 analytics that I keep really close attention to. I do keep track of my Patreons as well, but I don't have a Patreon. I'm gonna have to go make myself a Patreon sticker. These ones were from, these little labels or these little icons are from A2K Designs, but she didn't, in the social media pack that I have, she doesn't have Patreon. So I'm gonna have to go make myself one, which is fine. I can make myself one, just fine. And then I plug in each day what book I'm reading. That's what this is. So yeah. So that's what that is. And then down here, I have the book club books for each month. These are the 4 book clubs that I actually participate in. So the Any Book Book Club is at my local indie, and this is literally, you just bring in either a book that you have just finished or a book that you're currently reading, and you talk about it and talk about whether you recommend it or not. So this one I don't actually have plugged in because that is the 3rd week of every month. So that's gonna or the 3rd Thursday of every month. So that's gonna happen, like, I think it's the 19th this month. So I will plug in what book I read for that when I know what book I'm reading for that. But that's what she said. Book club is a membership book club. It is $10 a month, run by my friend Jess over at Hustle Sanely. That's what that is. I don't remember what book we're reading for this month, so I'm gonna have to go look. B&K Book Club is my friend Brittany and Kelsey's book club, and I don't remember what book we're reading for that for June either. Oh, I do know. It's the Carly Fortune book. I don't know if I'm going to read it because I don't know that I'm interested enough to read the first one, and I know you need to read the first one before you read the second, and I need to check to see which book we're reading for Cat's Book Nerds this month, but that is what that is for. It's just so that I have my book clubs at a glance. This is my ARC calendar. So how I'm going to use this, I do need to bring over my date dots, but how I'm going to use this is I'm going to just plug in any ARCs that come out in June and on which date. So the book covers will go on the date that they are published. Then we have a month. Oh, I should actually show you this. These Sundays are hyperlinked, so I'll show you that really quick, and then we'll go back to the beginning of the month. So if I hold down this, I actually have the week set up, I think. Yeah, so this is for May, right? This is for this week specifically, actually. Oh, I didn't realize I did that here. Okay, it's fine. Let me actually go to May because I actually am keeping track of it there. I forgot that I had set it up in June. So in my monthly plans, this is very rough because I only set it up for this. So if I hold down on the Sunday, it will take me to the week. So I have 6 weekly spreads because some months have as many as 6 weeks. And this is my monthly spread here, or my weekly spread here. Obviously it's not labeled, I'll do that later. But I plugged in, again, I'm using the weekly kit that I'm using in my planner, so that's why you have these pink these pink things. I will be plugging in some other stickers in here as well, like labels and stuff. But it's dated, obviously, and then in each day, I will be keeping track of the book that I read and how many pages of that book I read. So yesterday, I read 133 pages of Bloodguard, and that's actually for a challenge video that I'm doing, but that is what that was. So I put the page I started, the page I ended on, and how many pages in total, and then I will just fill this up with that. I am going to put labels behind these, I think, because then I can use a little bit more of the sticker kits each week. And then down here are my weekly hopefuls. So these are any books that I'm wanting to get to for the week, and then basically what happens is if I don't get that to them, they transfer to the next week. And then down here you have a little spot for your weekly wrap up, so how many pages you read in the week, hours listened, the highlight and the low light as far as books read. And every month looks like that, and I do have these weekly pages so that I no longer have to do the planner pieces in order to track these. So let's go back to June because I have other things set up in here. So we have the ARC planner and then, or ARC calendar, and then we have my monthly TBR. I do this, I've already set this up for June because I've already played my TBR game for the month. So these are all of the books that I'm wanting to get to in the month. These are books that were on my TBR game. They're also books that I'm reading for the Amazing Readathon. They're also project books. They're just the mashup of books that I'm wanting to read. I believe there are 40 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there are 30 spots here. I don't usually read 30 books a month, but I told her I usually average between 3 and 20 books a month. It just really depends on like how many audios and stuff. But on a month like June, when I'm doing a readathon, my reading is going to be, it's going to be a heavier reading month. So that is what that is. My monthly TBR, and I like my monthly TBR to be like this, where it's not just a bunch of titles in a list. I just prefer to be able to actually see my book covers, so that I can kind of look at my monthly TBR at a glance and be like, oh, these are the books I've read, and then I can put little stars or hearts or whatever over the top if I'm wanting to do it that way. The next page I have is my buddy reads page. I am in the process of still setting this up for June, but I actually need to add a second buddy reads page to this because I have 3 buddy reads this month. I also have a buddy read with my friend Brittany. So basically this is just a spot for me to keep track of buddy reads. I loved this page. This was a one that I had made into an insert for my landscape planner. So I had told Kristen, hey, I prefer this buddy read page. There was another one where you made like the cover really big, and then that was like what it was, but I actually like this better because then I can come in here, I can put a rating, who I'm reading it with, the date started, date ended, my rating, and then I can write a little mini review or make like a little mood board or whatever. I'll probably do like a rating here, a mood board here, and then write my little mini review. So I really do like this page because it allows me to keep track of buddy reads in the month that I read them. Next, we have, these are all of my weekly pages. So there are 6 of them in total. So I'm just going to flip through them really quick. These are hyperlinked back to the monthly. So right here, there is a hyperlink. If I click this and I hold it down, it will take me back to the monthly page. It's not linked to my ARCs page. I didn't need that. I just wanted it linked to my monthly. Then we have my what I read in June. This is where the months get so fun for me. I added a bunch of different pages in here because it's so fun. Okay, so this is what I read. Every month I have this. So this holds up to 20 books. I don't usually read more than 20 books. If I did, I could copy this page and make another blank page behind it and then just white out this piece. Like I could just white this out like with a sticker and then put like stickers or something down at the bottom. But these are the 20, you know, these are the spot for any books that I finished in the month, any quotes that I loved. So I could do like just kind of space them out down in here. And then down here we have my favorite book of the month, favorite audiobook of the month, an author I loved and tried, and then a book that was outside of my comfort zone, if there was one, which, spoiler, in June there probably will be one because of a video I'm doing. Then here I have what I watched in June. This Hell's Paradise is a, what is this called? An anime that my brother has asked me to watch. So we watched the first episode of this last night. So I do need to mark that I watched the first episode. I don't know what exactly I'm going to use this space for. I think I might just white it out. But you put the title, the season that you're on. I might put how many, I might actually use this for like episode. I think this is because we pulled this layout off of, like, we found a layout like this and used a layout off of Pinterest as inspiration. So I think I'm going to put the number of episodes that are in. That way I don't necessarily have to tape them out if I don't want to. I'll just put the number of episodes and then the rating down here. So obviously what I rated the show. I watch a lot of serials. I don't watch a lot of movies unless they're like documentaries, and I don't necessarily need to keep track of that here. When I have another page I can keep track of it on. This is my June playlist. This is any music that I listen to throughout the month. So I'll put like the album cover here and then the song underneath. I like keeping track of them because I like to add songs that I've listened to a lot to playlists. Then here we have my June wrap up. This is one page, and then we have June favorites, which is 2 pages. We found the June favorites and kind of did the monthly favorites based off of another layout that we found on Pinterest, and I'm so excited for it. So up here we have all of my basic stats. So books, audio time, buddy reads, ARCs, any KU books I read, and how many pages for the month. Down here, these are the different formats. So the way that I do physical, because I don't usually read physical books, like I don't pick up a physical book and read it. When I read physically, I'm reading on my Kindle. So technically that is digital, right? So for physical, what I'm doing is I'm keeping track of how many physical TBR books I've read. So books that are actually physically on my TBR shelf. And then down here, I should have had her put Kindle here instead of digital. I don't know. I may talk to her about editing that just simply because I should have done that, but it's okay. So here, when it says digital, it does mean Kindle. So Kindle books that I've read, or books on my Kindle that I've read, audios, library books, and then a combo. So for me, combo can mean immersion reading, but it usually means that I've jumped between formats. So that usually means that like I had it on audio, but I also had it on Kindle, so I jumped between the 2 formats. And I do use my spreadsheet for these stats. That's the easiest. Then down here we have our ratings from 6 to 1. I should have had her include DNF, but that's okay. Yeah, that's okay that I didn't have her include DNFs. I should have had her include a spot for DNFs, but it's okay. And then down here we have social growth. So at the beginning of the month, you saw where I had TikTok and no, that's TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. So I had her put the world is Patreon. So Patreon, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I don't post on TikTok very often, but I probably will find some little icons to use for Patreon and TikTok and put those up on my monthly where I have the Instagram and YouTube. So these would what they would end up being at the end of the month after I plug them into the beginning of the month. Then up here we have my reading goal for the year, which is 52, and then the actual number of books that I read in the month. Then down here we have the NetGalley goal, like the goal that I have by the end of the month, which is 80%, and then my actual like current at the end of June or end of the month percentage. This is self-explanatory. Any series I started, any series I finished in the month. And then down here we have monthly faves. So these are books that were my monthly favorites. Sometimes I have 4, sometimes I have 1, you know. Then here we have the monthly favorites. So technically my wrap-up page is 2 pages because I have my June wrap-up and then my monthly favorites. So any foods that I loved in the month, any clothes. So my hoodies and stuff that I wear a lot. Any activities, diamond painting, whatever. And I can do these one of two ways. I can either list the things, like type them out, or I can stick them into like pictures of things. Any memories from the month, TV and movies. So this is actually where I'm going to be keeping track of any documentaries that I watch throughout the month, any podcasts, and any music. So also in this playlist, I will be keeping track of podcasts as well. So I may end up using more than one sheet for that every month. Then we have all of our blank sections. So I will show you how I have this set up. The blank sections, we've already seen what they look like, but this is my amazing readathon spread. So I only have one page for this so far because I don't have any of the graphics yet. We don't have any of the graphics yet for each leg of the race, right? We usually get those with each leg. So I will be adding a page behind this. I'm actually gonna do that now. So we're actually gonna add a page and a current page. That way I have a blank page for this. But this is my main TBR for, or my tentative TBR for the Amazing Readathon. I'm on team The Lore Keepers. I did a whole video with this. So these are all of the books that I would like to get to in the month for Amazing Readathon. And this is just an easy page. And then here, this is the cute little graphic, like the emblem, the, what am I trying to say? The logo that Bree created for this year. And that's what this page is. And then I do have a blank page directly behind it for each leg of the race. So like last year we had like boarding passes, and then I could have put those in here for each one. But I'm excited to see what Bree comes up with for each of our graphics for each leg. And then we have my Wheels of TBR game. This one, I again used the monthly layout that I'm using in my regular planner. It's like an ice cream theme, so I may plug in some of the little ice cream stickers in this just to make it cute. But I do need to add a sticky note to this because I've added Kindle a dollar amount. So I give myself $1 for each TBR book I read. So each of these books gets $1. $5 for every completed series, $2 for every KU book that I read throughout the month, and then this sticky note is for total money earned. I may just get rid of the total money earned and put the KU book here, and then plug in the total money like up here, put like a little what is that called? A label up here that is for total money earned. But these are the 5 books that were picked for my Wheels of TBR game this month. And I used these cute little picture frames. I just thought that, I don't know, I liked the way that they looked. I'm probably going to do this like every month with the picture frames. I don't use the scrapbooking kit a lot, so this is a really fun way for me to use that. And each month. And then I used audiobook covers for like to put in here because they are square. So I just typed in like the name of the book and then audiobook, and it gave me like, probably from Audible, but the audiobook cover. That's what that is. And then here I have YouTube projects. I can show you how I have this set up. I'm not going to show you the page directly behind it, but this is my YouTube project. So I don't have this set up yet, but basically what I'm going to do is any books that are for my 2025, my 25 in 2025, my 25 self-destruct. These obviously are not those books because these, I copy and pasted the picture frames from my Wheels of TBR space, my Wheels of TBR page, and then arranged them so it brought over the covers of the book. So these are not the books that are being plugged in for this page, but this is, I have 2 25 and 2025 books I read every month, or try to, 2 self-destruct and 2 Recs from 12 Friends that I plug in here. So those are what is going to go in these. And then behind this page, I have another page for my current like other YouTube projects, but I'm not going to show you that page because it's being worked on, but it's for my reading my friend's favorite books vlog, and no one ever knows other than the person who got picked what friend I'm doing for the month. But that's what that is. Now we're going to go down here to the yearly, because I'm pretty sure that's where we are at this point, is my yearly spreads. So this has a lot of things in it. So this is my yearly bookshelf. I am arranging these books and coloring them in based off of the rating that they are given. So these are all of the books that I've read so far this year. There's about 47 of them. I do keep track on this bookshelf of my DNFs. So the red ones that are colored in are for DNFs. I need to plug in the rest of my colors. Down here, I am using those same little squares from Planning to Prosper. Oh, I need to plug my iPad in apparently, but I am using the little squares from Planning to Prosper specifically for that this month, because then what I can do is I can grab my highlighter tool and I can use the little paint dropper to grab the actual color of the box that is in here. But that way I don't have to try to color in these little boxes, or I also don't have to remember what the color code is. So I can just use that little dropper. And then I am going to finish this page, but this one is not hyperlinked to anything other than this page, so I will copy and paste this page as we go, and I probably will color in these little doodles because I just think that they're so cute, but I might just leave them black and white. But then when I flip through this spot, I can see all of the books that I've read for the month or for the year. You could also do it where you have two, well, you need 3 of these, I think, actually, but you could do it where you labeled the shelves with the month that you read books. But I decided just to put all my books on the shelf because in reality, if I had a physical bookshelf that had all of the books on it that I read for the year, this is what it would look like, and then I would just label them somehow. So that's what that is, and I'm keeping track of that by rating so I can see how many 6-star books I have at the end of the year. And then these are the what I read this year. I believe this will hold up to like 200 or 200, or hold on, actually I can tell you how many. This holds more than 200. Yeah, 203 203 reviews. So each of these book covers is linked. So if I click this, any of these book covers, it will take me to a planner page. Okay, so each of those linked pages, or each of those linked book covers gives me a blank page that looks like this. So this is where the bullet journaling aspect of this planner really comes into play. So I did have her put in all of the stats at the top so that those are at least the same through each month. And I will show you what a page that I've already done like reviews and stuff for looks like. But I have space here to put the book cover, all of the information about the book, and then down here I can put the format. So the way that I'm doing this is if it is a book that I own on my physical TBR, this will get checked off, and then these over here are all the formats in which I read them. So if I read them only on my Kindle, only through audiobook, or a combination of the two, that's what that is. So this only gets checked off if in fact it is a book that I own physically on my TBR, and then down here is a blank space. So I'm going to go back to this. If I hold this down here where this book cover is, where I'd put the book cover, it will take me back to the first page of reviews. So we're gonna let that load. It's gonna take a second. Okay, so let me think, because I know I have some that I've already like plugged in information for. I may have done one for Dark Oz already. Let me look. Yes, okay, so this one I've already done. So I put my rating over here. I did make these rating stickers right here. I did make these. So basically these are individual shapes. And what I did was I stacked the shapes to make this, and then I grouped them, because you can do that. If you guys want to see me like do an actual page, like a review page, I can do that. So let me know down below if that's something that you would like to see, so you can see exactly how I would set a page like this up. But I put my rating here. the book cover here, and then I just used different stickers. Obviously I need to put in like the days I read it and some other information here, but I then made this little mood board. I got all these pictures off of Pinterest and stacked them together, and then I just grouped them so that they're all, it looks like if I move this it's gonna be all one image. These are some different stickers that I own. So this is this sticker, the trigger warning sticker, and the sucker for morally gray men sticker are from P&G packs of clip arts. If you can find basically any sticker you need. I just tend to type in like dark romance or reading clip art, and that's what comes up. These stickers came with one of the journals that I purchased. These stickers here did, and because the journal I purchased had, which I will have linked down below, that journal had a couple of different layouts that you could customize your journal, which is why it only being like $5 right now is crazy. So if you want a journal that is kind of customed, but it's not 100% custom, you can. But they had a romance, like a spicy romance version of the journal, and it came with these spice rating stickers. So that's what that's from. And then I did buddy read it with my friend Brittany, and then I used this mini review sticker to just kind of write in my thoughts quickly about it. And then I don't know what I'm going to use this blank space for, but I just wanted to put together a page so you could see what a page like this would look like. I could have even made like this a little bit bigger if I wanted to, but that is what that is for the yearly. So we're going to go back so I don't have to flip through every single book review page. Then we have my Battle of the Books page. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I feel like most digital journalers have this. I actually have this page now. Allie added it into the spreadsheet that I use, so I'm able to just plug everything into my spreadsheet and then transfer the data. So this is what mine looks like so far in the running right now. Like in the top spot is Pucking Sweet. Nothing's knocked it out yet. And then, yeah, so that's what that is. So each month I read a book and then we plug this in. Obviously, it's not quite the end of May when I'm filming this, so I don't have a May book to put here yet. But when I have the May book, it'll go in here, and then it'll be between May and June, and then it'll go here, and then it'll go head to head here, and so on and so forth, until we get to the winner at the end of the year. Then we have the mid-year stats. This is similar to my like monthly, but this is for the entire, thank you, the entire first 6 months of the year. So I will be doing these very soon in July actually is when I usually do my mid-year stats. And then we have the mid-year freakout tag. I use this, again, I film my mid-year freakout tag usually in July, like it gets posted in July. And then these are just the different prompts. So you have like best book of the year so far, best sequel, new release, I still want to read, and so on and so forth. And these are just the different ones. I do use this format when I film my mid-year freakout tag because they're already like ready made. I guess I could have given her the prompts specifically that are for mid-year freakout tag, but most of them are pretty much the same. I usually will also look at the actual mid-year freakout tag videos and see if there's anything that's missing that I could like add to it, but usually I just use this mid-year freakout page to help me film that video. And then down here, these are books I want to read for the second half of the year, and this is always like the most fun part for me. So I am going to be plugging in some books into this as the year goes on. And then we get into yearly stats. So I do really like this chart because this is a very much like year at a glance type thing. So you have your total books, the different formats. Again, with the physical, I'm using that to specifically keep track of physical books on my TBR, like the books that I've read that are on my physical TBR. And then the digital ones are specifically like the rest of these are like how I actually read them. And that's what this is. So I do need to go through my spreadsheet in the next like week or so and plug in for the first 6 months of the year for this, but this is just an easy way to see your stats. Then we have yearly favorites. So your monthly favorite for each one, and then any honorable mentions. So obviously I'm working on getting my yearly favorites plugged in, and then I'll put any, like I'll pick 5 of my top books that maybe didn't make it, but I wanted it to. So like for February, I know that The Third Gilmore Girl will go in here, and for January, for honorable mention, I will be putting in Beyond Self-Care Potato Chips, because I loved both of those books, but I didn't count them as favorites of the month because they are memoirs, and so, or self-development, they're nonfiction, and I don't tend to do that. I tend to keep my monthly favorite to a favorite fiction book. Then we had my top 20. So again, with these, I will plug in 12 that are, these first 12 will be specifically for my months, every month, the top book. And then down here, I will have 8 of them that are just like kind of honorable mentions. And then we have our yearly wrap up, which is just like our monthly and our mid-year. It's all the same kind of stats. The difference between the monthly and then the mid-year and yearly is that I have books by month on this one, and then I also have my like diversity stats and my genre stats. I don't keep track of that by month. I prefer to look at it by year. If I really wanted to track it by month, I could. It is in my spreadsheet, so I don't find it necessary to track it by month over here. I tend to do that in my spreadsheet, and then I put those in my wrap-up graphics over on Instagram. And then this is my reviews page. This has its own section, but there's no like blank thing here. So at the end of the reviews page, we also have our notes. We're almost to the end, friends. This is going to be such a long video. But then we have our notes. So these are just blank pages. So I have like a blank page. All of them have this like light coffee splatter on them, but this is blank, like there's nothing on it. Lined grid, like dot grid, and then the square grid, what is that called? Like graph paper. But those are just blank, they're just blank papers. So if I need them to be inserted somewhere, I can. And that's it. That's pretty much the entire planner. And then obviously I have my 10 blank sections. That's what these little ones down here are, but we've already looked at that. So, and then if I click onto my spine here, the spine takes me back to the beginning, to the cover. So that is my flip through for my 2025 journal. This is the journal that I will probably be using from now until like the end of time. Like something crazy would have to happen for me to actually switch journals at this point, because this is my perfect journal. I may add things to this journal. Like I said, I may ask Kristen if she can make me some inserts, how much that would cost for her to make me inserts. But as far as anything like being like me buying a new journal, I probably will not. I probably will just add things onto this, stickers or inserts or whatever. So yeah, I'm really happy with this journal. If you want to get your own journal, I will have a link down below to Kristen's Etsy shop if you want to do that. This is a more pricey option, and I am very much aware of that. I did save up for around 6 months before I was able to really justify buying this. So, and I made a full list of everything I wanted in this journal before paying for it. So I will say that like this was a very planned out purchase, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving this. So you will be seeing some content with this. So let me know what content in particular y'all are really interested in seeing with the reading journal, because I can do like reviews and stuff like that if you want to see, or I can do like monthly setups. I just need to know what kind of content you would like to see with my journal. Also, if you want to see weekly planning stuff as well, like in my normal like everyday planner, let me know that too, because I am more than willing to make that content as well. So that is really all that I have for today's video. This was very long. I'm pretty sure it's going to be over an hour. There was a lot of start and stopping because people kept coming out to talk to me, but hopefully it flows relatively well. So yeah, that is all I have for today though. Thank you so much for watching. All of my links are down below as usual for wish lists, Patreon, all of that. They are down there if you want to see those. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.